Hey everybody, how's it going? Nice to see everyone once again. Last week was another very important episode of One Piece. We got to unravel the story even more. So let's get right into it. It seems as if the people of Ohara figured out how Emu and the world government actually works. The information was researched for years. Ohara figured out something they shouldn't have, and then what do you know? A buster call was announced on, just like we saw in Lelouja, right? Lelouja was absolutely blown to smithereens once they, were arguing their story or arguing their position at the Reverie. So now we see Ohara get blown to bits after they found out how the current government is in place. So one thing to note too is that they did not show Kuzan saving Robin at the end. They did show that earlier on in One Piece, but yeah, just to go over that, the Buster Call is announced. Ohara is put into flames. You can see Robin getting away. We saw Saul save Robin, as we always knew, but earlier they show, Robin gets in a raft and Kuzan sees her, and Kuzan lets her go. And not to get too off track here, but Kuzan letting her go, you can see already the conflicting ideologies of what he believed then, and now, how it's turned him into what he, really became, which is a captain of the Blackbeard Pirates now. But again, not to get too off topic, all the information of the Ohara people and their researchers were thrown in a lake when the island was burning. The archaeologists, the researchers, the people of Ohara threw those books right into the lake so they would not be burned. So there was a win in the tragedy of Ohara. It was tough to watch. That's how the world government, that's how they do business though. Once you're a liability to them, they're going to try to cut you out. So at least they got a win. The Giants were there to preserve all that information. And then they sent it to Elbaf, where Vegapunk goes in secret and he memorizes all the information about what the people of Ohara knew. So, we have the Giants who preserved all the information. They bring it to Elbaf. Vegapunk goes there in secret, and then he puts it all in his head. So now Vegapunk knows what they found out, and he now unfortunately has become a liability. So we saw a lot early on in that episode. A lot of things that tie in from the very beginning. I've been watching this show ever since I was a kid. And I, keep finding new stuff out 20 years later. So it's fascinating. And, I can't wait to see what else they have in store for us. They're giving us so much on the story lately. It's beginning to really paint a pretty good picture. So it sucks, really. Ohara, we got to see the in-depth context, what have you, of how that all went down and why they were eliminated. So luckily Vegapunk has all that information down and now researches it, as he stated in the episode. So that's why Cypher Pol too is now on the door knocking. Vegapunk has memorized all that. The word does not want to get out. So what do you know? Cypher Pol comes knocking, and they're after him. So we'll definitely see how that's gonna pan out. One thing to really note though is Cypher Pol. I don't see them succeeding in this. They failed already in the individuals now currently on Egghead Island. I mean, we have all the technology there. We have the Straw Hats. We have the Vegapunks. We have the Seraphim. All there, and it seems like they're on the verge of forming a very positive relationship, especially with the unraveling of Ohara and Vegapunk 1, Shaka, and the relationship, that they must have with Robin. There was a lot there. It was very sentimental. Robin she's probably never been happier after finding out all that stuff that they were told. So, but either way, I think that Cypher Pol is in over their heads. It could go south, and we could see bigger members of the Navy or world government come to Egghead Island because. In my head, there's no way that, with the people there, they're just going to be taken down like that. That Luffy is now a Yonko, and the Seraphim have proven to be quite difficult. So, all great stuff. Can't wait to see ahead. So let's keep pushing forward. What are Vegapunk's intentions? What does he want? What is he up to? So what we really saw from Vegapunk was he's trying to accumulate as much information he can through all of his proxies, aka, Shaka and all of the other clones that he has on the island. He's basically using them to really gather all data and information as much as he can. And then he starts to really go into, he has this big brain of a cloud in the sky, and he wants to really link everyone to that brain in the future. And then we see Jinbei, ask, hey, but what about, religion and things of that nature? And then you kind of see Vegapunk say, well, let's not get into that because we can't advance in science. So I think that there was a bit of a red flag there, to be honest. Vegapunk speaking, hey, let's get everyone under the same, brain. It speaks volumes of Skynet and Terminator. I mean, what are we really talking about here? Do you really want everyone under the same brain, thinking the same way? So, I mean, in terms of that nature, it did seem a little diabolical. I mean, Vegapunk looks good. He has good values and good character and morals, but I think that right there was the one thing that kind of caught me off guard, And even Bonney was reluctant to really hear that, It didn't sit right. He's basically saying we're all going to be under the same brain, thinking the same thing, and pretty much forget about all religion and ideology so we can advance science. So I think that is one thing to note in that episode. From what we've seen from Vegapunk again, he seems like a good person, but that does strike a red flag. So, can't wait to see what's going on next. We have our theories and speculations, but I think we do know that something's coming, and Vegapunk, he has a handful ahead of him. So, okay, well, we'll see what's next. What's happening with Bonney, Kuma, and Vegapunk? So, Bonney tries to kill Vegapunk. She feels that Vegapunk turned her father, Kuma, into a weapon of destruction and lost her father in a nutshell. So, what we know is that Kuma supposedly was made the world government's lapdog, really, and he became a clone, a pacifista, specifically, and he started to lose his personality over time through One Piece, In Sabaody, though, he does save the Straw Hats, as we all remember, when they get into that pinch with Kizaru, and things are getting, and Sentomaru's there as well, and they're getting beat up pretty bad, and Kuma comes in, and that's the kind of last time you really see maybe anything of his personality. But after that, he really was just a machine. So now we see Bonney in Egghead, and she tries to kill Vegapunk because she still doesn't really understand what had happened. And even Jinbei and Bonney pried again with Vegapunk, asking, hey, why did you turn Kuma into a pacifista? Why was he an experiment? What happened there? And we still didn't get closure. It was directly asked to Vegapunk, and we still didn't hear anything about it. But the thing is, the more I watch this, the more I'm thinking, what if Kuma volunteered for this? Vegapunk doesn't strike me as someone who's going to go ahead and completely take over someone without their free will. He doesn't seem evil as far as as I see now, but I think from what I've seen, Kuma might be doing this voluntarily. He might have wanted to help the research. We know he was a founding father with Dragon. We know Kuma goes... There's a lot of things about Kuma that go back, like, you know, where he comes from, Buccaneer pirates, things of that nature. There was a lot of question marks on him. So I think, you know, we still have a lot to learn there, but maybe he just volunteered for this and he wanted to help Vegapunk. So that's what I think, but hopefully we'll get closure on this as well.
At the end of the episode, it looked as though a CP agent was traveling towards Egghead with the intention of eliminating Vegapunk. This CP agent in particular had a familiar bird sitting on his shoulder, and to me it looked like it could have been Rob Lucci with a mask. Luffy defeated him back in Ennie's lobby, so there shouldn't be any reason to worry. Maybe it's an entirely different agent. Maybe it's one we've never seen before, but it would be a crazy coincidence if it wasn't Rob Lucci. Also, why would the government want to eliminate Vegapunk after all his contributions? After all, he did create the pacifista units and many other useful inventions that the world government have used. Perhaps they fear his limitless brain and the lost knowledge that he obtained in Ohara. Perhaps it's the ties that he possibly has with Dragon, because it was clear that their relationship was positive in their meeting. There was obviously a mutual respect between the two. We're just going to have to wait and see how this unfolds. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.